Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. The following confession that you are going to be listening to, it was sent to us by one of our dear brother, and it reads like this. Hello, brother. I regret using a snake to get tenders. My brother, please hide my identity, and when you post, tell me so that I can follow what people would be saying in the comment section. My name, you call me Sipom, even though most of the people, they do not know that I am not South African, but I do come from Bulawayo. I came here a long time ago and I got married to my first South African wife. So far, I have married 9 South African women that I have been with, but it is not each and every woman that has kids for me. The first woman that I got married to, our first 2 kids, they are okay. But then after that, I have another 12 kids that I had with more South African women, some that I married, some that I did not. And all of these women that I started dating and marrying after I had made money through a tokoloshi that I got from Mozambique. Those women, when they fell pregnant for me, when they gave birth, they all gave birth to crippled babies, because this is the rituals that I did. I sacrificed my sperms when I was in Mozambique so that I can become a very rich man. I was not always like this. In 2010, I was just another small-time contractor. I used to stay in Bulugwane, by the way, and then that was when I met another guy who told me this man was staying in Muleji, and he said that he could offer me some subcontracts. They were supposed to be building RDP houses. So we moved from Limpopo, and then we were moving from one province to another, building the RDP houses. I was specializing with the roofs. Before that, I was barely making enough to even pay my guys that I was working with. I was tired of always running away from people with the money that I would be owing them. So I always wanted to be a big man. I wanted to have big government tenders. And I said, how am I going to do this? As it happened, we were working for another company that had given us a subcontract. So the lady, she did not like to pay people in time. There were a lot of Mozambican builders. So in order for her to pay us, those Mozambicans, they would threaten her and saying, we are going to bewitch you. Just wait and see. If we go back to Mozambique, we are going to bewitch you because you do not want to pay us our money. That lady, she was afraid of being bewitched. Whenever she would hear someone saying that, I'm going to bewitch you, then the lady will just say, okay, let me go to the bank. Let me see if I can get some money from the bank, and then I can pay you. So I became interested in these Mozambican guys. I wanted to know if these Mozambican guys, if they were telling the truth that in their country, you could get some charms that would make someone to pay you really fast. When I spoke with one Mozambican man, an elderly guy, he said, if you want, we can go back to my village when I go to the village. So I even assisted him with money, because he told me that he had 2 wives and he could not just go back to his country with nothing. First, he had to prepare. So I asked him, how much does he want? When he told me the amount of money that he wanted so that he could quickly go back to his country, I said, how about I assist you? And he said, okay, there is no problem at all. And then we went to his country. When we went to Mozambique, in his village, that was where the traditional healer was staying. I even went with him using my baki that I had. I had an old Isuzu baki that I was using by then, and I was still very young when I did these money rituals. I do not know where I got this idea of getting this tokoloshi from, even though I knew that the Malawians and the Mozambicans that we were working with, they were threatening the owner of the contractor to bewitch him. But the fact that I started to think about getting money rituals so that I can make a lot of money, I think it was the devil that had whispered into my ears, him telling me that he wants me to do this. So, Brother Nashim, I was then given something that was inside of a goat skin that I was not supposed to look at. I carried it on my lap as I was driving from Mozambique, returning back to South Africa. I was just told by that Sangoma that inside there is a partner of mine, and this partner, it is going to be giving me money, but I was supposed to give it back something. And when I was still there, I was told to go into another room, in which I did. When I went into that room, I had been given an instruction to ejaculate on top of that goat skin. So I did as I had been instructed to do, and I ejaculated on top of that goat skin. That is how I sold my sperms to that Sangoma, them in Mozambique. When I returned back to South Africa, I had been given an instruction not to continue the relationship with the woman that I was with, but to look for another girlfriend. So there were a couple of women that already loved me, because even though I was not rich, but I always had money with me, and I started to date another woman. She was a beautiful woman. By then, I did not know that the rituals that I had done by me depositing my sperms on top of that goat skin, what I had done was that I had offered my manhood to the Tokoloshi, and it was going to harm my kids when they were still growing inside of their mother's wombs. This one I was not told by the Sangoma. So I started a new relationship with one woman who was the most beautiful amongst all the women that wanted me back in South Africa. When she fell pregnant, I never expected anything out of the ordinary that was going to happen. So this pregnancy, it was very strange. My girlfriend, she was always in pain that you could not even easily explain. And I started to get worried, because a pregnant woman is not supposed to have so much pain like that. So she always had dreams, and she told me that in her dreams, she saw a creature that would come to her at night, and this creature, it would start to suck her breast milk. This would happen almost each and every night. So when she went to give birth, I was not around. She was accompanied by her mother. I had sent them money so that she can go, but she went to the public hospital. I was then informed that there was a child, but there was no excitement in her sister's voice, who had gone to see her. I had told her to go and see the boy that had been born, and when she called me, she was not excited. And then I asked her what was wrong, and she told me that the boy did not come out right. I then went and I saw her while she was still in the hospital, because he was born with a disability, so they wanted to monitor him. When I arrived at the hospital, Brother Nashi, I felt my heart just crashing, and I said, so this is it. This is what my girlfriend has given birth to. And whilst I was still in that hospital, I swear to you, Brother Nashim, that I just saw someone that walked into that ward where we were, and it seemed as if this was not a normal human being. It was as if this was a Tokoloshi that just walked into that room. It went to where my girlfriend was, and then looked at the baby, and it started laughing. It looked at me, then it went away, then it started laughing at me. I could not even tell my girlfriend that this was what had happened, because she was going to know that I was the one that had sacrificed our son. I just pretended as if all was okay, but deep down I started to regret, and I said, oh God, what is it that this woman has given birth to? I want to apologize to her, even though she does not know that I am a ritualist. If she had fallen pregnant for another man, she could have given birth to a healthy child. I blamed him in my heart. Then I started to ignore him. I would give her money because soon after that, I then got my first big tender. I can't tell you much about that tender. And I gave her money. I even bought for her a house, and I made sure that she was okay financial wise. But as for the boy, no matter what, the boy will never be okay in his entire life. Till this day, the boy has never walked. So back then, I just thought that it was bad luck. And I told myself maybe it was a one-time thing, but I was wrong. Since that year, I have slept with plenty women that beg to have a child with me. And after that woman would have fallen pregnant, I know that the child will come out with a certain type of a disability. Some cannot walk, some cannot speak. Two of them are blind. One has a spine that is curved. It is so painful to even look at. So since these women, they do not know each other, they don't know that I have other kids with a disability. So the woman that I would have a child with will just think that maybe there is something wrong that just happened. I wonder what is going to happen the day that maybe I am going to die. Obviously, they are going to meet up. This one I know, they are going to see each other, and then they will know that also this man, he had other kids with disabilities. I really do not know what is going to happen on that day, but since I won't be around, it won't matter, right? Because I would have already died. So before all of this, I did not know that I was the reason as to why all of these kids were being born with severe disabilities. Then on the third child with another disability, that was when I realized that there is something that is going on. There is something that is wrong. I then returned back to Mozambique. When I went to Mozambique, I then discovered, I was told by the Sangoma that since I had sacrificed my sperms when I had ejaculated on top of that god's skin, so these were the consequences of the actions that I had taken. And this Dogoloshim, it was the one that had made all of the three kids that I had to be born with disabilities. I was told that I was never supposed to shout at these kids, to never show them that I hate them, to love them, but they are not supposed to meet whilst I am still alive. So I make sure that I date women from different areas and they can never know each other. And I drink each and every day because it is not an easy thing to know that you have created a generation of kids that are only born with disabilities. It is something that someone can never understand, that you have all of these kids that have been born with severe disabilities. So I make sure that I provide for their mothers because I have multiple companies. I have companies that I have started so that those companies, they can just make money for me, money that I will give to my baby mamas. That is what I do. Even my accountant make sure that he deposit money into different accounts. My accountant does not even know that these are my baby mamas. They are like people that consult for my company. I make sure that they give money, but it is very painful. Even though I give their mothers money, when I visit them, it is hard for me to hold these kids that were born with disabilities. It is just tough for me. And yet I was told that I am supposed to toughen up for the day that I am going to show these kids that I do not like them. Then what is going to happen is that I'll just drop down dead. So my snake, the Tokoloshim, finally revealed itself to me when I came back from Mozambique, when I had been told that the reason as to why I am having kids with disabilities, it is because that I did those rituals, and the snake then revealed itself to me. So when I go even on a Zoom meeting with any government official, that person, because of the Tokoloshi, will tend to give me a tender even without any corruption. If I meet someone in person, if I just look at you directly into your eyes, because of the Tokoloshi, you will do favors for me. Even if you are a white person, you will fast track any tender process that involves my company. But I regret, Brother Nashi, I am like a man that has made a prison for himself and has locked himself up in that same prison. If I could have seen what was going to happen in the future, there was no way that I was ever going to agree to do something like this. I regret with all of my heart. And to all of you, my baby mamas, even though you will never know that this is what I did to you, I used you in rituals, you will eventually know after I would have died, because there is a prophecy that you are all going to lose the wealth that I have created. You're going to lose them after I would have passed away. Then you will know that I was the one that was bewitching our children. I am sorry, and I need to ask for your forgiveness in advance. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear brother. Let us speak with our brother in the comment section. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world. So many baby mamas at the same time. Can you believe it? Let us meet again in the following episode. I see that now that we are posting a lot of stories, you are avoiding some of the confessions. If you can watch all of the confessions, it will help us to keep on posting more episodes for you here on European as well as on African confessions. But thank you very much for your support, as well as watching each and every episode. Let us meet again.